Hello, my name is Brainerd Carey. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a newsletter, sending out a newsletter, and what to write in that newsletter. Many of you may know me already, but if you don't, I'm an author, I'm an artist, and an educator. I wrote this book, Making It in the Art World, which is a bestseller on Amazon. It's about building career strategies for yourself as an artist. I've also written two other books, New Markets for Artists, and one that's coming out next year, The Art World Demystified. Today I want to talk about the idea of what it means to write a letter. What do you write in a newsletter to people? There's a mistake that artists often make that I want to address, and then I want to tell you what I think is the best way to write a letter. And a letter means whether you're using a bulk email service like iContact or Sendy or Constant Contact. It's a letter that goes out to all the friends on your list, all ideally collectors on your list, whatever is your mailing list. This is the letter that goes out to them. How often does it go out to them? At least once a month. Could be twice a month. Depends how you write the letter and how interesting the letter is. And that's what I want to address now. What do you say in that letter? Essentially, the letter that goes out is about what's happening in your studio and what's happening in your world of art and what you're doing now. Often the kind of letters that I see coming from artists, which I believe are a mistake, is kind of a list of what's happening. Hi, just want you to know I'm excited about this show that I'm in, this show, and they list a series of links, and I made a new video, and I did this, and I did that. And that's okay, but it's not that interesting. When you send a letter that has 6 links in it and says what you've been doing, it's kind of like a mini resume of the last 6 months. Personally, it's not the kind of letter that I start clicking through and looking at every links. And I would imagine that for any of you that have gotten letters like that, it's not the kind of letter that makes you want to click every link and investigate everything about this artist. What we're all after is something a little more personal. That's what touches us, that's what engages us, the personal. So if you write a letter, rather than making it look like a bulk mail, which again, that kind of list of resume type activities does, say in the letter something chatty, something that you're doing, something engaging. So that can be, this week in my studio I'm experimenting with encaustic. This week in my studio I'm doing printmaking. This week in my studio I'm doing different things with photography. I'm making photographs that are a narrative series. Whatever it is, talk a little bit about what you're doing, just as if it's a personal letter. You know those great letters to artists that you've probably read, letters, that to Matisse or other people, or Sol LeWitt that you've probably seen on the web every now and then. They're letters that are personal, that are filled with emotion, that maybe even talk about the struggles artists are going through, and also the triumphs. If you're not an artist, it's very hard to understand what it is that artists are going through. And I mean creatively, psychologically, emotionally. So when letters are going out to family, friends, collectors, what will make them more attracted to you is personal, chatty, engaging writing that's real, that's about struggles, that's about triumphs, that's about what's happening in your studio, that's exciting you. That teaches them something about what it is that an artist does, which is pretty exciting, and also it will engage them and create a reply to them. Now there's one newsletter that I get which is wonderful, and I think it's one of the more savvy newsletters I've gotten by an artist named Shari Elf, and she does something that's pretty, what I think is pretty smart in that newsletter. Instead of always just saying hi or dear friend, she uses a e-marketing software, something like iContact or MailChimp, and what you can do is put the person's first name in there. So automatically, in iContact it's dear, and then you put square brackets, F name. And so what that means is, on your mailing list, if you're using an e-marketing software, when you bulk mail a letter, a newsletter to people, it grabs the first name of everybody. So her letter comes to me, Dear Brainerd. Even in the subject heading it says, this is a letter for you, Brainerd, something like that. And it's just a kind of a psychological fact that we're hardwired to be attracted to the appearance of our name in print. There's something exciting about that. We all like our name, most likely, and when it appears, it feels personal to us, and we open it. So when I open her letter, it's talking about what she's doing, what's happening lately, her art that's for sale online, but also it's talking and using my name in that letter. She says things like, "Dear Brainerd, I know something wonderful is going to happen to you today." I mean, I know what she's doing, and I know that this is a bulk email, but every time I get that letter, it makes me happy, and I'm glad to see that she's wishing me a good day. Then she's talking about her process, the other thing that I was saying, what's new, what's happening, telling me about something new on her website. And I click that link, I go to what it is she's doing. Whether I buy something from her or not, the personal quality of that is very affecting and works. So that's the message for today, is to be a little more personal, a little more chatty. Don't write it in third person or resume-like. Be very personal, and you'll get a greater engagement from your audience, and you will build a bigger audience. Thank you for listening to this. If you have any questions, please ask. And of course, if you're interested in mentoring, you can also use the link below to talk to me about that. Thank you, and I wish you the best with your art.